I married a mute man to save myself from an arranged marriage to a monster. 3 years later, the man I poured my heart into, the one who couldn't speak, just broke his silence to ask for a divorce, and his first words were, "I will divorce her soon." Wait until you hear the truth behind why he was silent and why he wants to throw away everything we built. You won't believe what he was hiding. "Serena, you're getting engaged. The Echostone heir will meet you today." Those words shattered my peaceful morning, my father barging into my room with a decree that felt like a death sentence. My heart plummeted into an abyss and my complexion turned ghostly with shock. He never showed me love or affection. I was always just a backup plan. "Dad, what are you talking about? I haven't brought home any suitors, and my career is my focus now. Marriage is irrelevant to me." I stood there, my mouth agape, my body paralyzed. How could he spring such a life-altering decision on me without warning? My thoughts raced, each more frantic than the last. "The wedding will follow in a few weeks. This isn't up for discussion. I am your father, and my word is final in this house. Prepare yourself." His words were daggers, and I fought the urge to lash back. The realization hit me like a tidal wave. My fate was sealed, and I had no control. "You are useless to me. Weak and lazy, your presence here is unnecessary," he continued, his tone as cold as ice. His presence demanded respect, and his words cut deep. The sting of his rejection was almost unbearable. Why was I never enough for him? "Dad," I called out, my voice a mere whisper. My heart descended deeper into despair as I gazed at his retreating figure, my eyes brimming with pain. He ignored me and vanished into his room after delivering that terrible news. I had been nothing but a servant in this house, treated as though Thomas wasn't my father. This all began when my mother succumbed to cancer and he remarried a woman as cold and demonic as the darkest nightmare, uncaring of my existence. Tears spilled from my eyes, despite my efforts to hold them back. My jaw slackened and my legs quaked as I stumbled out of my room. How had my life come to this? I was about to marry a stranger, forced into a future I didn't choose. An hour later, the door creaked open. A man in his late 20s stood in conversation with my father. As I emerged from my room, my stepmother approached with new clothes, dressing me swiftly. My heart bled as I stood there, grappling with the grim reality. Was there no escape? Was this truly my destiny? "You are getting married. Congratulations," Linda said, with a bitter smirk. She orchestrated the whole scheme, her words sharp as daggers. Her voice was merciless, each sentence another wound. I sat in stunned silence, my mouth open, unable to utter a word. My face grew paler and my hands trembled. The betrayal was complete. I had no allies left in this house. Marrying a stranger wasn't an option, but with no other choice, I followed, burdened with my luggage. We headed to the heir of the Echostone family, the city's wealthiest clan. I had heard whispers of him, cold, aloof, commanding respect with an iron fist. Richard, his name, echoed through the city's corridors, his reputation intimidating and far from positive. How could I be expected to marry such a man? As we arrived at the mansion, the door swung open. The man inside was almost 6 feet tall, adorned with a fedora hat and a heavy trench coat. His shoes, simple and black with pointed tips, lay strike against the floor. His skin, pale like printer paper, contrasted sharply with his bright blue eyes, reminiscent of Christmas lights on a snowman. But this man was no Frosty. His pursed lips exuded boredom and disdain. I recoiled as he turned to me, his presence sending shivers down my spine. My legs shook, my face drained of color, and breathing became a struggle as he addressed me. "Your name is Serena, right?" His voice was icy, his demeanor matching the chilling rumors. My heart sank and I stared at his back, my pain evident. I tried to speak, but fear sealed my lips. What kind of life awaited me with this cold stranger? "Yes, that's my name." Call me Richard. I own almost all the production companies in the city. I'm wealthy, possessing nearly everything. We're engaged for appearances. Don't expect more. His words were cruel blows. Marriage without love? As I attempted to respond, he cut me off. My decisions aren't up for discussion. His voice was frigid, and my heart felt as though it was being torn apart, making it hard to breathe. The weight of my new reality pressed down on me like a heavy burden. Did my father realize what he was subjecting me to? Richard was arrogant, disinterested in the marriage. Our parents had made an agreement long ago, and we were the pawns to fulfill it, ensuring their business partnership thrived. Their children were to marry each other. I overheard the conversation between my father and Mr. Ecclestone. Richard, his only son, was to marry me for the sake of their legacy. At least we're just meeting for the first time. Control your words, I said, my voice trembling. My jaw dropped and my body frozen. Could I ever find my voice in this suffocating arrangement? He was dismissive, cold, and distant, indifferent to my feelings. The maid will take you to your room. My words remain unchanged. This is just a marriage. Don't call me any sweet names. Don't cook for me. Don't wash my clothes. I have people for that. He declared, his dark eyes burning with fury. The space between us was frigid, and I felt an unbearable loneliness settle in. Are we sharing a room? As a couple, we should sleep in the same room. I knew the answer, but I needed to hear it from him. I needed to understand the full extent of my isolation. He moved closer, and I glared at him, furious at his smug tone. Tears streamed down my cheeks as I closed my eyes, unable to meet his gaze. His presence eroded my confidence, his jaw tight with unspoken anger. His silence was louder than words, but something in his expression made my heart ache. Was there a sliver of humanity behind those cold eyes? He didn't say anything as he left, his departure leaving me in a room that felt more like a prison cell. The tears wouldn't stop, each one a testament to my anguish. How could I survive this marriage? How could I endure a life with the man who saw me as nothing more than a pawn in a ruthless game? Fear gripped me and I couldn't move as my back pressed against the door. My throat tightened, my eyes stung with unshed tears, but I blinked them away and closed my eyes, bracing for his strike. But he didn't. He opened the door and left. With my newfound idea, I didn't need anyone's permission to act. I slipped out of the room and made my way to the back of the hall. I heard the sound of footsteps and quickly hid beside a large flower vase, overwhelmed and desperate to escape both physically and emotionally. "Did you find her?" a voice demanded. "Richard." "No, sir, she disappeared in no time," Richard's men responded sharply. "If you all don't want to lose your jobs, find her and bring her to me." "Yes, sir," they replied in unison, scattering in different directions. Fear gripped me as I slowly stood up. I wanted to fall in my heels, so I took them off and held them in my hand as I crept to the parking lot. I saw a guard coming and ran to hide behind a car. I froze, holding my breath. Then he passed. My legs made no sound as I moved silently, desperate to escape both physically and emotionally. "What happened to your hands? Why can't you beat him properly?" "Beat him until I see blood all over his body." A lady laughed wickedly, her voice carrying from the front view as she commanded some men to beat someone. "See him? He can't speak," she continued. I hid between cars, ready to steal one just to get out of this place. Richard's men roamed the garden, desperately searching for me. "How do you expect an elegant lady like me to marry a mute, useless man? You're more predictable than a broken clock. What are you going to grow up? When are you going to heal from your amnesia? Do you even realize you have it? You should if you didn't believe it before. Honestly, I can't believe I wasted my time on you." The lady sneered, her words firm and powerful. After a while, she glared in my direction, but I hid. She couldn't see me, but sensed someone was watching. She and her men left the area with urgency. Desperate, I considered stealing a car. I walked toward the driver's seat, praying I could drive away. I had escaped my father's grip and Richard's control. I was eager to switch off my phone and block all my lines. I tried to open the car, but all the doors were locked. I retreated to my former hiding place. Richard's men were still around, now heading from the garden to the parking lot. My heart felt like it was bleeding as I stood there, overwhelmed by reality, confused and ready to do anything to escape. This was my only opportunity to escape. Ever since I was a child, when my mother died, I had never known freedom. My father, rich and wealthy, never treated me as more than a maid in his house. How could he expect me to be happy? He cared only about his legacy, not my feelings. I rested my back against the car, sliding down as I began to cry heavily. Despite how weakened I was, I glared back at Richard's men, then dashed to the narrow space between two cars. If I hadn't been smart enough, I would have been caught. All of a sudden, I heard a groaning sound from the other side of the parking lot. A man crying in pain on the floor. My memory flashed back to the scene with the lady earlier. He must be the man they were beating. I rushed to his side. "Hey, what is your name? Can you stand up? Are you okay?" I was willing to help despite my challenges. He couldn't speak. He was too weak. Instead, he used his hand to indicate something in his car. If I followed what he said, it might lead me into more trouble. The car was in the center of where Richard's men stood. He was either asking me for a bandage or requesting that I drive him to the hospital. I quickly removed my inner shirt, knowing it would be difficult to take off my long gown in a hurry. He was bleeding from a head wound, so I used the cloth to create a makeshift bandage and staunch the flow. My breath hitched as I heard footsteps drawing near. "Can you help me? Please, I need your help. Can you help me escape this place? Those men are looking for me and they could kill me if they find me. Please help me." I spoke urgently. The car that covered us. He was very weak and couldn't speak, but I figured out that he was using his hand to navigate. Understanding his silent plea, I ran to the car we have been using for cover, opened the trunk, and squeezed inside, quickly closing it behind me. Tears streamed down my face as I realized that if they discovered me, my carefully laid escape plan would be ruined. The stifling heat inside the trunk felt like a sauna, and the voices of Richard's men echoed in my mind. "Hey, young man, did you see a young lady in a wedding gown?" they had asked, as I tried to muffle my cries. I was overwhelmed by fear and couldn't hear his response. Silence surrounded me. No sounds, no voices, no footsteps. Lost in thought, I didn't notice when the car engine started. The darkness and heat inside the trunk were suffocating. I could barely breathe, and each shallow breath felt like fire. Fear and panic consumed me as tears streamed down my face. The trunk's walls felt like a coffin, closing in on me. The helplessness was crushing. I closed my eyes, trembling with terror. After what seemed like forever, the car finally stopped. I forced the trunk open and escaped the suffocating heat, collapsing on the ground. Richard's threats, delivered through my buzzing phone, filled me with fear. "Serena, where are you? Do you think you can escape? I will find you." His words were sharp, scary, cold, cruel, and unrelenting, stabbing me in the heart with each sentence. I wanted to smash the phone, but fear held me back. Tears welled up, but I swallowed them down, trying to maintain my composure. After a few minutes, I managed to stand and check my surroundings, where I am. I opened the driver door to check on Damien. He fell into my arms, unconscious. Fear gripped me again. He had used all his strength to save me. He parked in front of an apartment which I assumed was his own. I frantically looked around and shouted, "Someone please help me." I ran to the door and knocked, yelling, "Please, if anyone is there, come outside and help me." Suddenly, a young woman in her early 40s rushed out of the apartment. "Can you please help me carry him?" I asked, pointing to the car door. "Oh, my master," the woman shouted. Together, we carried the man who was still breathing but very weak inside and laid him on the couch. The woman rushed to the kitchen to find a first aid kit. I didn't know how to use it, but I had to try. I used the cotton wool to clean the wound on his leg. His eyes slowly opened and groaned in pain. I know how it feels to have a wound. He gently opened his eyes and looked around my face, trying to remember how we met, but that wasn't the issue at the moment. "Who are you?" the woman asked. "I'm Serena. He helped me escape a terror. Just a stranger anyway. I'm Olivia. I worked here 3 times in weeks, and I will be soon on my way home." "Okay, good. His housekeeper. How long is his condition?" "Being a long time, he had a personal doctor that often came weekend." "Should I call the doctor now for this wound?" "No, the doctor will treat him later, but I need to stop the bleeding now or else he might lose too much blood before the doctor arrives. He helped me, so I need to return my help. I needed to help him change his head bandage. I changed the previous one and used a real bandage for the head wound. How are you feeling now?" He nodded his head, indicating he was fine, but my body remained tense. If Richard's men discovered my location, I would be in danger. If my father learned of my escape, he would be humiliated and would stop at nothing to find me. "I don't think I'm saved here," I said, panic surging through me. My phone buzzed, and I saw that my picture and details were all over city platforms with a reward offered for anyone who found me. My face paled. I felt so disappointed. Olivia's words cut me off. "I need to go now. I'm already late." "Going home? I'm leaving soon also," I asked sharply. "I'll be back early tomorrow, or maybe in the evening. His doctor will be here this weekend too. He can live alone and have prepared all his meals in the fridge. He is a strong man. Just make sure you lock the door." "What's wrong? You're shivering. Are you scared of something?" Olivia asked, noticing my discomfort. "Oh, no, I'm okay. How's the security here? Is it safe?" "Yes, the estate is very safe, with cameras everywhere. The security is vigilant. Nobody gets in without an estate ID." "ID?" My heart ached at Olivia's words. "Yes, this is what the ID card looks like," she said, showing me hers. "Is something wrong? Why are you asking?" Her voice wavered with concern. "I'm fine. I just wanted to be sure if I was safe." "Sure, you are safe." After cleaning him up, I gave him some water. "Are you okay?" I asked. He nodded his head, but I could see he was feeling sleepy. The beating had weakened him. I used a bandage to bind his injuries before he slept off on the couch. Communication with him was going to be difficult. That night was long and sleep was elusive. I kept glancing over at Damien, his breathing shallow and even. His once sharp features now seemed softer in the dim light, almost childlike. I wondered what his life had been like before the trauma, before the amnesia, and how it had brought him to this point. It was already night, and from the look of this, he had healed a lot. I have to find my own path. I don't know where to go, but I have to head somewhere. I sat beside Damien. As I looked at him, my heart ached with a mixture of emotions. His chiseled jaw, tousled hair, and those piercing blue eyes that seemed to hold 1,000 stories captivated me. I couldn't believe how deeply I had come to care for him, perhaps because he had saved me, and that meant more than I could express. Damien, I need to leave, I whispered, my voice breaking. The thought of leaving him tore at my soul, but I knew I had to protect him. His eyes locked onto mine, and I felt a pang of longing in my chest. His gaze was intense, yet gentle, and it seemed to reach deep into my soul. He reached out, his fingers brushing against my cheek, wiping away the tears that had started to fall. His touch was warm and comforting, a stark contrast to the cold fear that gripped my heart. Despite his inability to speak, his eyes conveyed everything I needed to know. He cupped my face in his hands, his thumbs gently caressing my cheeks. The look in his eyes gave me the strength I needed. He believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself. He gently stood up, and my eyes followed him as he walked to the entrance, taking deliberate steps. He locked the door, then turned to stare at me, his dark eyes flickering with an emotion I couldn't quite place. Using body gestures, he quickly communicated that I shouldn't go out. Richard's men are outside looking for me, and it would be risky to step into the night. He clapped both of his hands and rested his head on them, indicating that he was allowing me to sleep here. It stung for a moment when I realized that he was trying to protect me despite his condition. I had never experienced something like this before. Someone risking themselves to save my life, and then offering me, a stranger, a place to stay. "Thank you, Damien," I whispered as I helped him lie down on the couch again. I adjusted a pillow under his head so he could rest comfortably. He smiled, and I felt warmth in my chest. Despite his disability, he was so caring and protective. How I wish he could speak and act normal. The housekeeper has gone. Damien's approval to leave me behind means he trusts me, not a stranger anymore. I gently closed my eyes, feeling a sense of relief wash over me. I had escaped my father's arranged marriage and Richard's grip. I opened my eyes slightly, and our gazes intertwined. His attention was solely on me, and I could see the sincerity in his eyes. "You're staring at me. You need to sleep, Damien, so the medicine can work," I said softly. He nodded and turned his back to me, settling in to sleep. Exhausted, I quickly fell asleep on the chair opposite him. Suddenly, I felt a hand lift me up from the couch. I was unconscious due to my weakness, but I knew it was Damien. His touch was gentle and reassuring. The sensation was unfamiliar, unlike anything I'd ever felt before. As he gently laid me back on the bed, a wave of vulnerability washed over me, akin to a newborn opening its eyes for the first time. A chill permeated the air, and he thoughtfully covered my legs with a bedsheet to ward off the cold. I anticipated him joining me in bed, but instead he opened the door and abruptly left. His swift recovery was remarkable. He had regained his strength in an astonishing short time. Already this morning, I decided to make some breakfast. Moving quietly, I went to the kitchen and started preparing some eggs and toast. The aroma soon filled the air, and I hoped it would entice Damien to wake up. As I set the table, I heard a faint rustling from the couch. Turning around, I saw Damien slowly sitting up, wincing in pain. I can't just leave him like this. I have to at least make him heal first before I find my way.
"Good morning," I greeted softly, hoping not to startle him. "How are you feeling?" He gave a slight thumbs up, acknowledging my presence. I walked over to him, offering a hand to help him stand. He took it hesitantly, and together we made our way to the table. I pulled out a chair for him, and he sank into it gratefully. "I made some breakfast," I said, trying to keep my tone light. "I hope you like eggs." Damien's eyes softened and he nodded again. He reached for the glass of water I had set out, taking a small sip before picking up his fork. As he began to eat, I watched him carefully, trying to gauge his emotions. Communication was going to be a challenge, but I was determined to make it work. After breakfast, I decided to address his injuries again. "Let me check your wounds," I said, gesturing for him to sit back on the couch. He obliged, and I carefully unwrapped the bandages. The cuts and bruises were still visible, but they looked better than the night before. Damien's phone rang, and I quickly went to check. It was his phone. "Your mom is calling you. Shall I help you to pick it?" He refused, then collected the phone gently from my hand. "Hey, Damien, I'll be right there in your house." The phone was on loudspeaker, so I heard the voice at that end, which was not a pleasant voice at all. "Damien, I'm sorry, but I need to go. She might report me if she finds me. My picture is online, and everyone in the country knows my father. Richard is looking for me," I said, preparing to take out my phone. But he stood up and used his hand to stop me. "Listen to me, Damien. I'm not safe here. Your mom is on her way, and she'll probably see me. I don't want anyone to see me. I don't want to risk my life in the hands of Damien's men. Please let me go now," I pleaded. Suddenly, in a hurry, he took out his phone and typed, "Serena, you can hide in my room. I need to protect you. You can't go outside now. Richard's men are everywhere. I assure you you're safe. Trust me." He said this with determination, though his face showed discomfort with the idea. He urgently held my hand, and I followed him with panic in my heart. He stared at me, his dark eyes flickering with an emotion that sent fear prickling down my spine. I followed him to the room, then he typed on his phone, "Stay here, Serena. I will be right back. Don't make any sounds, and I will do whatever I can to protect you." He shut his eyes abruptly and turned to leave, locking the door behind him. Panic immediately set in, and tears began to blur my vision as I realized the burden my father was imposing on me. The room was astonishingly luxurious, like a prince's room, a stunning blend of modern elegance and opulent comfort. Expansive floor-to-ceiling windows offered breathtaking views of the city skyline, allowing natural light to flood the room. Automated blinds could adjust the lighting to create the perfect ambiance. I turned off the lights, hoping that if anything happened later, I could find a safe place to hide before anyone could turn them back on, maybe behind the curtains or something. I could hardly breathe. My heart inexplicably ached. I looked at my phone, my heart pounding, my hands and feet cold where I stood. My eyes scanned the room for a better hiding spot, tears rolling down my face uncontrollably. The main door opened, and I could feel that Damien's mother was around. I could hear the heels of an elegant woman with a sharp voice.
"So what did you do? Do you think you're wise enough? Huh? You think I wouldn't see the letter you secretly wrote to your father? Well, that old man gave it to me to read, and I was surprised you want your inheritance. Do you think that can be possible?" The woman's voice was scary and confident. It stung for a moment, but then I realized something. This must not be Damien's biological mother. Maybe his stepmother. As a woman, I know how it feels. Even if your son offended you, these words of humiliation are too much for him to bear. The wind outside felt different. The cold between them was like hell. I couldn't hear Damien's voice, not even a murmur or a raised voice. Instead, the woman continued, her voice echoing in my ears. "Well, stepson, even if the inheritance was given to you, how do you plan to use it? With your condition, how do you intend to control your staff?" she said and laughed mockingly. "Don't be offended. I'm just saying. You were a boss before, but now you can't be again, and forever. Don't expect anything from the family. Your father is old, and I am the one in charge now. Let that sink into your head. And those documents in your hand, the report forms, I'd like to have them. All your father's related and company-related documents. Do you want to stand up and get them for me? Huh, Damien? I don't want to stress you. Let my guys get them. I felt hurt inside. My heart began to bleed more than before. I heard a rush of footsteps and a fight, followed by a moan of pain from Richard. Maybe he was trying to stop them. Then I heard someone land on the floor. Blows and beatings followed. My heart grew more and more nervous. I wish I possessed some superpower to fight for him, but I didn't. The anger boiled within me, wanting to protect him, but I was not in the position to do so. The door gently opened and my eyes went directly to the men. I quickly hid in the bathroom, but the door cracked and made a low noise. I could sense they had turned on the lights and were searching for the documents. My heart grew heavier and I panicked with every step they took. Unfortunately, the bathroom door quietly opened. There was no way I could escape this. "Hey, don't move. If you move, I will blow your head off with this gun," one of the men said. My jaw dropped, my body froze. Tears welled up in my eyes, but I tried to hold them back, feeling speechless. I raised my hands and followed them. "Ma'am, we found a woman hiding in the restroom," one of the men in black said. I went down on my knees. I could see the woman's face now. Her face was an elegant mask of wickedness, blending beauty with menace. Sharp green eyes held a calculating gaze framed by perfectly arched brows that spoke of control. Her full crimson lips curled into a smirk, hinting at cunning schemes. Porcelain skin, flawless and smooth, contrasted strikingly with her dark, glossy hair, which framed her face like a regal crown. She exuded a cold, captivating allure, her presence both enchanting and unsettling. Every movement was deliberate as she moved closer to me. "Hey, young woman, I think I've seen your face before. Serena! Oh, your face is everywhere. Your father and the Ecclestone family are looking for you." "Well, how did you two meet, Damien? What is she doing in your house, Damien?" the woman shouted as Damien struggled on the floor, his hands and legs tied. The pain and heartbreak were overwhelming. I stared at him, and I could see the pain written all over his face. "The documents are all set. We've cleared everything in the room. What should we do with her?" one of the guards asked. "Leave her there. I will call Richard to send his men to take her away from my son. Tie her hands and legs," she replied. After they left, I quickly untied myself using my teeth to undo the ropes. I then freed Damien's legs as well. I found him sweating and could feel the pain of his humiliation. "Damien, I need to go now. I must be on my way. Richard's men will be here soon, as your stepmother said, and I don't want to risk your life. They might beat you up," I pleaded, noticing he didn't want to leave me. His body was weak from the beating, so I gave him some water to drink. "Are you okay now? Can you stand up and walk? Use your ID card for me at the estate entrance so they won't hold me down." He quickly typed on his phone. "I will drive you out," he said. We got into the car. I couldn't drive, and he was moving slowly, pointing for me to sit in the back seat and lie on the carpet in case. Despite my fear, his confidence overpowered it, and I felt reassured, even as he risked everything to save me. As we moved out of the estate, I saw Richard's men in a car heading towards the estate. I was sure they would not be allowed to enter. I felt somewhat relieved. This could be our final escape, but I was sure he would hand me over to my father if possible. The car stopped, and as I raised my head, I saw a grand mansion, absolutely stunning. I didn't know the place, but I assumed it might be a friend's house. I followed Damien into the house and saw a distinguished old man in his 60s. Despite his age, he still looked youthful, though not very strong. "Damien, you didn't tell me you were coming," the man whom I assumed was his biological father said. They looked remarkably alike, even a blind man could notice. Damien remained silent, breathing in anger. He sat down, and I did the same. "Regarding the letter you wrote to me, are you saying you want your inheritance now? Do you really believe it's rightfully yours at this moment?" "This should not be your focus right now. It should be amnesia. It's very shameful that you've ended up like this after all the effort you've put in so far. the old man said, holding a cigarette in his hand. He flicked the ash and took another drag. Damien was angry but couldn't react. I understand how you feel, but you must understand that what I've built for decades cannot be handed over to you like that. How do you plan to manage the staff? All I want is to care for you to be well, and then everything will be yours. From what I could gather, it seemed like Damien wanted his inheritance. He felt like he was losing, and he believed his grandmother made him a loser. The only way you can have your inheritance is to get married. If you do, your wife could help you manage things and attend board meetings on your behalf. His father continued, I love you, and I acknowledge what you've done over the years. I believe this will help. He patted Damien's shoulder and handed him a drink to calm his anger. Unlike his stepmother, who made things difficult for him. Occasionally, I would feel uneasy being in his parents' house, always wary that his stepmother might be around. But it was clear they didn't live together. The whore I saw at the pool made that obvious. Damien, you have to get married as soon as possible before I can hand over what belongs to you. His face abruptly turned to me, and all I felt was pity for him to be in such a situation. My phone interrupted my thoughts as I read the message from my father. You are such a shameless daughter. If you don't return in the next 24 hours, consider yourself out of the family. My face swelling with heartbreak. As I continued reading, the message concluded, the only way for you is to get married to Richard. 3 years later, when will you divorce her? One of the servants at the dinner party asked Damien. The girl gazed at him with deep affection, unlike any servant I had known before. I stood there watching them. It was a party filled with couples from cities. My hands and feet turned cold, my sharp face gradually paled, and my makeup began to dissolve as tears washed it away. That was my husband, Damien Sinclair. He was mute, and when I accepted to be his wife, no one believed I could do it. Not even those friends I had then. Not even those who loved him the most. But I never expected to stumble upon a scene like this. He was the reason my father disowned me. I saw him, and he could speak. His expression was noble and cold, with an air of elegance and aloofness I had never seen before. His thin black lips parted, and his voice was low and pleasant. He will divorce her. I shut my eyes abruptly and turned to leave. He could speak, but I never expected the first words I would hear from him to be about divorce. I was in a daze, thinking I must have mistaken someone else for him. How could that noble and cold man be Damien? Damien wanted to divorce me. I took out my phone and dialed his number. I was outside the hall on the balcony, and I could see him in the other room. I saw him pick up the phone, his stern brow furrowing, and then hung up the call expressionless before starting to type. Soon he texted me, Serena, did you forget I can't talk? Why did you call me? I looked at the phone, my heart aching. I wanted to run downstairs to confront him, but I was afraid to see his cold expression, and I couldn't bear it. 3 years ago, I accepted to be married to Damien, who was mute. It was something I had locked in my mind not to enjoy. People are always happy in marriage, but I wasn't. He had amnesia and could only remember how to write his name, having forgotten everything. Getting married to him was the only way for him to inherit from his father and to get out of my father's arranged marriage. It was a win-win situation. I never complained. Instead, I took him in. He was nobody when I took him in heart. I accepted to marry him so I could present him as my husband to my father. I taught him everything from the beginning, helping him learn how to read and use sign language, and even leading him to fall in love with me. I fought for him against his stepmother, help him get back to his father. They had believed he could never be nobody. He will be forever useless, something like that. After spending 3 years with him, I had truly grown accustomed to his presence and his warm smiles, so I believed this must be a lie, and he wouldn't think of divorcing me. Returning home with the cab, we came together, so I couldn't follow him back. Upon getting home in the evening, I took a hot shower and prepared Damien's favorite dishes. then sat quietly at the dining table waiting for him. It was midnight when the door finally opened. He walked in, bringing a chill with him. My heart inexplicably ached. For a moment, I couldn't tell if what I saw during the party was an illusion. "Welcome, Damien," I greeted him as I always did, but he noticed my face had changed. "Serena, what's wrong? You look so disturbed." He used sign language, even though I had seen him speaking earlier in the day. His face and hands were filled with concern, and his eyes showed worry. But all I could see in my mind was his different persona. He took out his phone and typed, as he usually did. He was acting normal, as if nothing had happened. "What happened to your lips? They're red. Did you kiss someone?" He was shocked, and my gaze went straight to his face. "It was the meal served for me. They added a little cake, so it was the cake cream." He lied. He had never lied to me before, and I was surprised. The way he nervously explained didn't seem like a lie at all. I stood up, walked to my seat, and had his dinner. I wasn't annoyed, but still skeptical of what I saw. "Damien, I saw you today with a woman. How do you communicate with her? Do you speak?" Damien could speak. He was longer a muter, but he didn't let me know about it. In fact, he wanted a divorce. "Can you speak now? You didn't tell me you could." "Oh, maybe. All I saw was true. I saw you speaking with someone but couldn't hear what you were saying," I said jokingly. But the question kept rotating in my mind. Why did he want to divorce me? Why should he divorce me just because he wanted to? Over the past few years, I have done nothing wrong to him. In fact, if he truly wanted to divorce me, he owed me an explanation. My heart felt cold, but I craved the warmth of his body and hugged him even tighter. "Yes, Damien, I saw you speaking with a girl. I couldn't hear what you were saying, but your voice was so nice," I said as I hugged him and began to kiss him. I felt more comfortable in his arms. Every time we made out, he made me feel like a woman, just as I did for him. "I missed you," I added. Whenever we were together, he always smiled and his body would respond to mine. But today was different. "Why are you not responding?" When I saw that his lips were not moving. "Are you tired?" "Yes, I need to rest," he said as he pushed me away. I froze, my face going pale as I looked at his straight back. A sudden surge of anger rose within me, but I calmed my nerves. His face remained cold, his expression telling me I should avoid him. "But I'm horny. I want to do this tonight. You are my husband. Why are you avoiding me?" Why was he tired? Had he already been with the other girl? They were talking. Maybe he made out with her. I had to find out. The next day, I woke up lonely in bed. Though we had separate rooms, we always slept in one together. We didn't have a servant, so I always made sure to do everything, including cooking his food early. But yesterday was different. He went to sleep in the other room alone. Panic immediately set in, and I hurriedly got out of bed to search for him. Opening the door, I saw him lying down, hugging a pillow. He had refused to make out with me yesterday. He walked up to me and I asked him, "What is wrong, Damien? Why did you sleep alone?" I looked up at him, gazing into his dark eyes. He remained silent. I looked at him, waiting for him to say something, but he was as mute as he used to be. Before, he would hug me, but now he just changed. I had to use my gentle expression to stop him from talking about divorce. He wanted to fight, but I refused to fight with him. My heart sank deeper into despair as I stared at his back, pain evident in my eyes. He had never been like this before. Early in our marriage, he followed me everywhere, clinging to me as if I were his only lifeline. Later, when I decided to give him my heart, I taught him how to read and use sign language. His gaze became more focused on me more than his family. He didn't give me a good morning kiss and hug as he used to. I walked over to him to kiss him, but he stopped me. "Prepare my breakfast first," he said, taking my hand away. I could barely focus these days. I even stopped going to the office, but I would resume tomorrow because the manager said the company had been sold and the new boss would start tomorrow. "I will prepare the breakfast, but Can you just tell me what you wanted to say to me and let my mind be at peace? Did you hear everything we said? He finally broke the silence after a long wait when I refused to make breakfast. My legs were shaking, my face becoming pale, and I could barely breathe as he launched the question. Why did you ask? I thought I was holding back before, but now it's time to open up and stop deceiving myself. She is my girlfriend, and I love her so much. She is more important to me. He finally spoke up without using sign language or using his phone. Oh, so you're trying to say I'm not important to you anymore. My voice was shaking, but I tried to summon my courage to ask all those questions that had been within me. So you could speak like this, but you didn't tell me. Why did you hide it from me? I looked at him bitterly. A sudden realization struck me as I walked up to him, searching for his expression. You're okay. You've got your memory back, and now you can remember who you are, right? Yes, I did, he replied with the same cold voice, his expression smug and detached. And I'm very grateful for everything you have done in my life, he said gently, like never before. I will repay you, but you want to divorce me? Is that what you want to say? I asked, meeting his gaze with each word. I don't want a divorce, I said, my voice trembling. He looked colder than before, distant, and his voice changed toward me. If care is not taken, he might beat me. I want a divorce, Serena. I don't suggest, I command it, and it must happen, he said coldly, his icy aura surrounding him like something I had never seen before. I won't divorce you, I said, my voice trembling. This was a hard moment, but I wouldn't back down. My nails dug into my palms as I held his gaze. Compensation? Money? What do you want? Name it. Damien, why are you so heartless that the only thing you think of is compensating me for 3 years of marriage? Are you telling me all my efforts to support you are wasted? His brow furrowed, impatience flickering across his face. Serena, listen to me and just follow what I said, he said, and I walked up to him again. I refused to give him the satisfaction of a reaction. I still love you. Neither will I divorce you nor leave this house. When everybody rejected you, even your family, because of your condition, I stood by you. I am determined and I will not divorce you. Damien watched me with a complex expression, his dark eyes clouded with something unreadable. I knew the memories of our past years together lingered in his mind, unwanted but persistent. They haunted him as much as they did me. He stood there and said coldly, I will have someone send over divorce papers later. You can name your terms. Then he opened the door and left. Fuck, I muttered, kicking over the nearby chair. I threw all the food on the dining table away, tears burning in my eyes as I bit my lip in regret and anger. I struggled to control my emotions, taking several deep breaths until my resolve hardened. Soon enough, the divorce papers arrived. I opened the door and collected the papers. Before the man could finish his explanation, I tore the document apart. I will not divorce him, and neither will I name my terms. I wasted all my life and sacrificed everything I had to support him. He made his body a home for me to rest upon. The taste of his lips is something I cannot describe, but no other man will ever have it. The way he does things differently, the way he works, he is intelligent and a fast learner. I don't think I can see any man like Damien. Are you interested in part 2 of this story? If you'd like to see the second part of this story, please let me know in the comments. I will upload the rest of the story soon.